What went wrong for Arsenal, Yemi?
A lot of things. A lot of things. Time won't allow me to go into
Big
all
game
of the
mentality.
If you can answer that question, then probably you should be coaching Arsenal instead of Wenger, because he can answer that question. In fact, he actually will cancel the press conference ahead of their match against...
The boss had to go. And someone said they should have parked that bus in front of their goal.
The best way to respond, I agree with him, the best way to respond is
not to give excuses.
Is not to talk to the press, say anything on Facebook or on Twitter. Go
no,
to
but it's a rule that at the end of the game, you address the press.
After that kind of bashing,
there's nothing else to say.
If you've been beaten too badly, trust me, the last thing you
don't
want
have anything to say
is to talk.
Because it's obvious.
It's obvious.
Nothing to say. But really, Arsenal have a chance to bounce back as quickly as tomorrow. And that's one thing that players love to do. They love opportunities to bounce back very quickly after a disappointing performance. So let's keep our fingers crossed. We'll talk about that later on the show. English Premier League games tomorrow, Wednesday. Arsenal have a chance at home to Swansea. What will they make of it? We'll talk about all of that as we go along on Sports Tonight. And let me also tell you that on the program tonight, we have on the menu for you an interview that I had yesterday with an Arsenal legend, somebody who was part of the invincible squad of players that played the entire season without losing a game. They went 49 games without losing a game. Ray Parlour came to Lagos, and I was privileged to chat up with him yesterday. I'll bring you a bit of that interview later on as well, where Ray Parlour was speaking about the Super Eagles. He was speaking about Arsenal. What are the chances of Arsenal winning the title this season? I mean, he was very, incisive in his analysis, and you'll find out when we get to that part of Sports Tonight. So don't miss out on that. Ray Parlour came to town. We caught up with him, and he had a few things to say about Arsenal, what can they get this season, and a whole lot more. So please watch out for that part of our show tonight. But let's start off from continue where we started the show, the girls. Let's start by showing you results of games played over the weekend. Last round of games. Zambia getting their first win.
Oh, yeah.
They are already out of the competition. In the past, there used to be a chance, an opportunity for teams that are placed third. Best losers. That's when they had the second round. But right now, no more second round games. You just go straight to quarterfinals. So Zambia beat Costa Rica 2-1. The host ending with 3 defeats.
And back then, it was there were only 3 groups, but now there are 4 groups.
Yeah, there are now 4 groups. Venezuela beat Italy 1-0, but both teams already had sailed their places in the quarterfinals. Canada beat Ghana 2-1. Both countries already through. So that knocks out Germany, who also lost 4-3 to North Korea. North Korea won the very first edition of this competition, and remember they knocked Nigeria out at some stage, but they are out alongside Germany. Then Japan, high-scoring Japan, free-scoring Japan, beat New Zealand 3-0, and they are topping the group. And of course, Spain, plenty of goals in the final game against Paraguay, 7-1. Paraguay, I don't know how many goals they considered, but I know they considered 10 against Japan. They were just shipping in goals. All right. And then Nigeria, 3-0 over Mexico, a surprise for me, because before now, Mexico has scored 4-4 in their first 2 games, 8 goals in all. They had not considered any, but against Nigeria, they considered 3. And Nigeria barely scored 2 in their first 2 games. We're waiting for this game to really show what they could do. They scored 3. And then Colombia lost 0-1 to China. Both countries already out of the race. All right? So that's what it looks like at the FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup. Last group games played Saturday, Sunday, early Monday morning. So we're down to the last 8. Venezuela against Canada. Ghana against Italy. Japan against Mexico. Nigeria will try Spain for size in the quarterfinals, and that should be Thursday morning also?
Thursday morning. Yeah.
Thursday morning, early hours of Thursday, about 3 a.m. I think. Yeah. On Thursday morning, that's when that game will be played. Let's not count our chickens before they are hatched. If we are able to get over Spain,
let's not count our flamingos before they are hatched.
Okay, let's not count our flamingos before they are hatched. If we are able to get over Spain, and Ghana can also get over Italy, we are going to be having a West African derby in the semi-finals, but that's still far off. Yeah. What we need to do is to do our job, get Spain out of the way. But from what we've seen with these girls, Tunde, they've improved with every game. Yeah. Now they look like they can bring. I put my money on these girls to break that jinx that quarterfinal jinx on Thursday.
Yeah, well, on paper, you're tempted to think that this team has improved because in their first 2 games, they scored 2 goals, but they did concede 1 goal. So they scored 4 or conceded 2. In a game we expected to be the toughest, their toughest encounter, they actually scored 3 more than they scored in their previous.
And they were dominant all through.
And they also kept a clean sheet. Ordinarily, you would like to think that this is a team that is showing progression. But in women's football, everything can change very quickly. A bad first half, a bad 15 minutes can just bring everything crashing down.
It might be over before it starts.
It might be over before it starts. But I'm just hoping and I'm praying that this is a team that is beginning to show symptoms of progression. Whatever it is that they achieve in this competition, for me, the bottom line is still if we can see these girls, 4, 5 of them, 10 years from now, playing for the Super
Our
Falcons.
emphasis should not be winning this competition.
Yes, we would like to improve on our record in the past, which was never going beyond the quarterfinals. We would like to do that. Show some kind of progression. If we win it, fine. But the bottom line should still be seeing some of these players developmental, seeing some of these players at the senior level.
In 2-3 years' time, rub shoulders with the best in the world. Yeah. I mean, if a Germany is failing to qualify from under 17 at this stage, and they are so dominant at the under 20 level and at the senior level, and the African teams are so strong at this level and find it difficult to match up with the Germans at the under 20 and at the senior level,
it shows you
there's a disconnect.
There's plenty is wrong.
There's a disconnect. That, I think, is what you guys are saying. Yeah. So let's hope that we can translate all of this to the next round and then to the senior team, and once again show that this, in fact, is helping our football to develop. Now let's step up, gentlemen. Let's talk about our main squad. Let's talk about the Super Eagles. Let's talk about Stephen Keshi. Stephen Keshi told the BBC today that he's focused on his job. Distractions will come. He's not expecting everybody to love him 100%. But the story really about Stephen Keshi is that Keshi is going to be in town tomorrow. One of the sponsors of the Eagles, the official candy of the Super Eagles, is bringing Keshi to Lagos, where he will have to speak to us and explain some of his World Cup program to us. What is the next thing that he wants to do? How does he want to go to the World Cup and do Nigeria proud, Yemi?
Yeah, I mean, the questions a lot of people want to ask, Keshi, we have to answer some of these questions.
Why is Ike Uche out? I can be sure.
Osaze.
Why is Osaze? Is
Osaze coming back? Those are the questions.
Again.
Would you accept to work with even though the NFF have said that issue have died a long time ago. But, some of those things will resurface. And Keshi has always handled things like this very well. He has come into press conferences, laughed his way through.
I've not shown any pressure.
Yeah, we're likely going to see that as well tomorrow because, he said, look, criticism is part of the game. You don't want to get angry when you're being criticized. And you happen to coach a national team where everybody in the country thinks they know football. So you're going to get questioned. Even if you win the Nations Cup, I dare say even if you win the World Cup, people will still question you. So I guess he has gotten used to that by now. And I'm so happy with the way Keshi comes to a press conference. Journalists are asking them questions, and before you know, he's asking them the questions, and you hear, chorus of laughter and all that. But like you said, I think questions about Ike Uche, questions about Osaze, and Joseph Yobo as well.
And questions about some of the key players who are not playing regularly, like Victor Moses, John Mikel Obi.
That will also come up if you're going to depend on some of these key players. I mean, they are very key in the Super Eagles. Victor Moses, Mikel Obi. Some have even talked about Godfrey Babuna not really being up to scratch and all of that. Ederson Echejile as well, not really playing at Monaco. He will have to deal with all of that. But I'm sure Keshi will have answers to give to us. And maybe with the response we get from the big boss, it might calm the nerves. Because as much as we trust in his ability, the anxiety is gradually coming. Coming into it now. Your key players are not really playing. Then some that you think are good enough, the man says, these guys will not be in my squad. So I'll just strike that balance. But I hope by the time we listen to the big boss, it will give us things that will reassure us.
All right, but let's bring you into all of this. We've said a lot already on sports tonight, and we want you to understand that you are as important to us as those of us on this side, and we need to hear from you. Tell us what you feel about the girls as well. What do you feel about Stephen Keshi? Do you like the way we're going about preparations for the World Cup? Are we doing enough? What do we need to do? Where do we need to step up? What about the players? Talk to us. take advantage of the platforms that you are seeing on your screen, on Facebook, channels, iPhone Sports, and of course on Twitter. You are familiar with those handles already. Channels _sports at Toyin Ibitoye. Please take advantage of all of this. Speak to us. We will, as we go on, read your comments.